Okay, to keep our homes safe, we've got to lock the doors and reinforce the windows. The obvious points of entry, right? But in today's world, those points of entry, they're digital. They're through our phones, our computers, even our emotions. So if you want to stay safe today, you've got to do a lot more to fortify your defenses. And that's what we're doing today. Because even if you don't take any action after watching this video, you're still going to be smarter. And that alone can make you a harder target. Because the more knowledge that we share, the less power that these scammers have over us. So stick with me through all 7, and at the end I've got some bonus content that can help us lock things down even tighter. Now before I get into the list, let's first knock out some basics. Because most of these scams, they rely on the same tricks. And if you'll follow these rules, you'll avoid a lot of trouble. First, don't answer any unknown calls. None. Let them all go to voicemail, even if it looks like a business that you deal with routinely. Still, let it go to voicemail. Then, find out if you need to call them back yourself. But don't call them back with the number they gave you or that they called you on. Go look up the real phone number. Which brings me to the second one is don't just Google, phone numbers for businesses. Because the first ones that come up, they're third-party websites. They're coming up because of their SEO and all of that. No, you've got to go to the actual company's website to get that information. And third on the list is don't scan random QR codes. Now, QR codes, you'll see them just about anywhere, everywhere. They look like an updated version of a barcode. I'll put one on the screen here. Now, why do I say don't scan random QR codes? Because scammers can put a fake QR code over the top of that one. I know they're convenient, but it's really hard to verify what's a legit one and what isn't. And, you could either be, giving your money to some criminal through the code, or it could be loading a nasty virus on your device. And the fourth safety rule is don't click on any links in texts and emails unless it's from someone you know, and even then, do a little, pause for a minute and make sure it's legit. Fifth rule is to avoid cold callers or special offers that show up in your social media feed. If you didn't go searching for a product or a service, then don't let yourself be talked into one by a cold caller. Sixth rule is to avoid gift card requests or crypto transactions, Cash App transactions from strangers. Even if you're selling on Facebook Marketplace, if you don't know this person, don't transact with them through your Cash App, which is probably linked to your bank. And the seventh rule to watch out for is to just be very aware when it seems really urgent. If someone is pressuring you to act right now, that's definitely a red flag. Scammers don't want you to pause to, think or verify that what they're saying is true. Okay, let's expose the top scams out there targeting Gen Xers. Number 1 on the list is impersonation scams. This could be from some kind of customer service, tech support, even government agencies being impersonated. In 2023 alone, losses were reported of over $1.3 billion across all age groups related to impersonation scams. So they're dangerous. And when something seems to be working, for the criminals, they're not going to stop doing it. Many of the common ones have been that they'll pose as IRS officials, Social Security, officials, tech companies like Microsoft, all pressuring someone to provide some form of payment to, fix their supposed problem. The second scam we need to watch out for is investment scams. Gen Xers that are looking to grow their retirement or their investment savings, they're especially susceptible to this. The shtick will usually promise high returns, either through cryptocurrency, real estate, or some other kind of investment vehicle that you don't quite understand. My advice to myself regarding this one is just keep it simple, smarty. Use mainstream financial companies with mainstream financial products. No need to go elsewhere. Number 3 most common scams are romance scams. The method is these scammers, they build online relationships with people and they exploit them, emotionally and financially. And here's your big red flag. If money enters the conversation, and I don't care if it's early on in the relationship or months down the road, be very, very careful. If they start telling you stories about how, money could fix a problem that they have, watch out. And some of these, romance scammers, they're willing to invest months and years, to build someone's trust because they're probably playing multiples, at a time, so they feel it's worth it to invest months to gain your trust. And especially in our age group and older, they feel like you probably have a huge, retirement account or a big nest egg that they can rob you of. Number 4 on the list is online shopping scams. The method is fake online stores or ads selling non-existent products. My advice to myself with this one is to only do business, only shop at big company websites, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Chewy, whether it's Nike or Walmart. I'm not clicking on ads in social media or even YouTube. The site could be fake, the product could be garbage, and the customer service non-existent, and a refund not a possibility. Okay, number 5 on the list is job offers and work from home scams. Any job that promises high and asks for upfront payments, whether it's for training or for equipment costs, that's more than likely a fake job posting. But others to watch out for are multi-level marketing schemes and services that promise to find you employment opportunities at a price. And number 6 on the list is tech support scams. Let's say you're having a phone problem or a computer issue or even a TV glitch. How do you go about fixing that? Do you call another family member that's maybe a little more tech savvy? Do you start Googling the problem or maybe searching YouTube for a solution? Do you contact your phone provider or manufacturer such as Apple or Verizon? Any of these options, they're good and worthy. And in most instances, you'll find a solution to your problem using one of those methods. And more than likely, it'll be free of charge. In other words, start there with those techniques first. And what if some random, blue screen pops up on your computer screen or your phone screen and says, "Oh, you've been infected. Click here to fix." Don't click here. Don't even click the little X button that's on that pop-up. Whatever it is, just close out of the entire browser and then reboot the device. More than likely, problem solved. Well, there was never a problem in the first place. They were just trying to get you to think there was. So bottom line is, don't pay for technical advice unless it's from a reputable source. Okay, number 7. All right, let's just bundle some of the remaining common scams in this final category. Ones that you might not expect, but you absolutely need to know about. One is charity and disaster relief scams. Always donate through the actual charity's website. And before you even do that, vet that particular charity through charitywatch.org. Make sure it's legit. Make sure they do the right things with your money. Secondly, there's fake package notifications. And I get these. These are common. Whether it's from through text or through email. It's someone posing as FedEx or UPS, USPS. They're saying, oh, we couldn't deliver your package. There was an issue. Click here to fix the issue. There's no issue. It's fake. Just delete it and go on. There's debt collection scams. True debt collectors, they have to send a written request for payment of debt. We've also heard of AI voice cloning. Someone will call you cloning the voice of someone familiar in your life, a relative, saying they're in trouble, they need help, please need money. Just hang up and try to contact them directly or verify that another way. And then there's the toll road and parking ticket scams. I just got a text the other day. Actually, it was a phone call, and they left a voicemail. Of course, it was a AI-generated voicemail that said, if I did not pay my toll road charges within 24 hours, I was going to go to jail. Well, we don't have toll roads in Tennessee, and I haven't been out of the state recently, so I knew that was fake. But maybe you live in an area where you go through tolls all of the time, every day on your commute. Just know that they're really common. They're just sending them out to everyone, hoping it'll stick. Same with the unpaid parking tickets. Now here's the bonus content that I promised you earlier, and it's how to lock down your digital life. And the first category is phone safety. Never let strangers see you putting in your phone code to unlock your phone. They can be looking over your shoulder. They could be asking you for help and knowing you'll have to put in that code. Don't let anyone see you do that. Also, if you're in a public place, never lay your phone down, on a table or at the bar in an unlocked state. If someone can snatch and run with that phone while it's unlocked, or if they know your PIN and they can unlock it, they've just unlocked your entire world. And they know what to do immediately after they run off with your phone. They'll go to settings and they will change that PIN code or your password to get into, Find My Phone. You won't even be able to locate it. They know what to do immediately to lock you out of your own phone. Also, be aware of SIM swapping. And if you hadn't heard of SIM swapping, that's when someone posing as you, they'll either go to, a phone carrier such as Verizon, AT&T. They may even call them and say, oh, I am Sherry and I've lost my phone. I need to buy a new phone. And if they can convince you, maybe they know a few pieces, in order to unlock, the security profiles, with the customer rep. If they can convince them that I am truly Sherry trying to replace my phone, they'll activate your service on this new phone, therefore closing out and deactivating the service on your true phone. And a lot of times they know to do this when you're more than likely asleep, during the nighttime hours, where you won't notice it right away that you have no service on your phone. While they do this, they can go into, all your email accounts, figure out your bank accounts, different things. Go in, request new passwords. The two-factor authentication is going to go to their phone now. I've read horror stories about people that have been cleaned out in just a few hours this way. What can you do? First, set up a PIN code, security PIN code with your phone carrier. I think all of them now have that, but they're not really advertising it for some reason. So you got to call them to set it up. And, some of them will only let you do 4 digits. Some will let you do 8. Whatever the maximum amount of digits that you can create a PIN code for your carrier, pick the maximum, whatever they'll let you do. Preferably it's a long one. And before they will do any business with anyone related to your account, they've got to give them that PIN code. If they don't have this PIN code thing available, ask them about every security layer that's available to you and set every single one of them up. Ask them, how do they protect against SIM swapping? Okay, the second piece of bonus content I want to talk about is financial account safety and what you can do. First, email accounts, they're free. You can have as many email addresses as you want. So go and make you a separate email address that just applies to all your financial accounts. Go into all your financial accounts, change the email to this new email. Let that be your financial account email, and that's it. Now, if you want to take this even a step further, like I have, preferably you'd have also a separate device to set up your financial accounts, your financial apps. Now, most of us, we have our main phone that we do everything on. We watch YouTubes on it, we check emails, we make phone calls, we check our bank balance, we check our 401k balance, we do bank transfers, you name it. It's a one and done device. But a couple of years ago, I decided that that was too risky. If someone did take off with my phone, they could go into all those apps and maybe change the passwords, go into email, see that. But I got a separate, in my case, a separate iPad, and I moved all my financial apps off of my iPhone. I deleted them off my iPhone, put them on this iPad, that special email address that I mentioned earlier. I put that on the iPad, took off access to that email address on my phone. And one other step I took is that, with our phones, we usually have one account, in regards to, Apple devices, it's an iCloud account that stores all of your apps and all of that. On the iPad, I set up a completely different iCloud account. So the two are not connected at all. They don't even know that the other one exists, if you see what I'm saying. They don't sync, they don't do anything. They're on two completely different accounts. Now, that may seem a little inconvenient at first, not being able to check your bank account, on your phone or whatever, but I usually have my iPad somewhere nearby, and you get used to it really quick. I'm totally used to it now. It's not even a hardship. I love knowing that it's all separate. Now, I know I covered a lot in today's video, and it's impossible in today's world to stay on top of all the threats that are out there. But what I hope I've accomplished in this video today is to help you become more vigilant, more scrutinizing, maybe even a little more distrusting. Because if you were a fan of the X-Files, me, you'll remember that there were two conflicting themes that ran throughout the series. One was the poster that hung in Fox's office that said, "I want to believe." And yet the true undercurrent for the entire show was, trust no one. And I suppose that's maybe what I'm aiming for in this video. I want to believe that we live in a kind and decent world. But the reality, it's still full of flies, mosquitoes, and cockroaches. So I'll end on that note, but I've got another video you might enjoy. I'll link it right here. It's 12 cultural and social trends that I choose not to follow in my 50s. And let me know in the comments what your strategies are to remain safe in the world that we live in. And if you have any general questions, regarding staying safe and avoiding scams, let me know that in the comments as well. If I don't know the answer, I'll do my best to try and find one. I hope you stay safe. Have a great week. I'll see you again soon. Bye.